Okay, good morning. This 14th of September 2020. This video is for the file, and I'm seeking to articulate how the common description of spirit does not adhere to the substance of what spirit teaches. You hear the expression, the spirit of 76. You hear the expression at a pep rally, the spirit of the home team. You go to church and you hear something about the Holy Spirit, right? And you hear about spirit teaching. But that doesn't describe the experience of spirit. The experience of spirit is the attraction of one thought to another, from one mind to another. Okay. It's the ability to receive, the reception of thought one to another, which implies relationship. Relationship. We attach, we hear the thoughts, which are simultaneous everywhere in the universe, of the spirits that we are in relationship to, that operate at our same frequency, mental, electrical frequency. All right. And so what comes to us as on the screen of our mind is not just our own ideas and our own wishes even. No, what comes to us are the thoughts and wishes and ideas of those with whom and to whom we are still related. This is what describes prayer. Those who have always been related to God in their soul lives, not necessarily in their physical incarnations, okay, receive the thoughts of the relationships they have always had. And this is why some people are inexorably attracted to the covenant, to the idea that ascension, which is just a rehabilitation of a previous level, is not only possible, but perhaps even doable. Now, ascension is very rare in our world because the Holy Spirit of truth is very rare, very rarefied. Okay, if you look at John Levy's videos, he has 123 videos in which he pours through the old books and shows us the artifacts and the memorials of history and how they totally conflict with everything we're taught in quackademia. There's nothing in the history department that's real or true. It's all just a political narrative made up to sound plausible, but that's not what the artifacts, the ancient books show. Okay. The ancient books tell us a story that is totally at odds with the political correctness of the liberal perspective, which teaches there's no life but here. There's no life but here, and maybe we'll find out or contact the aliens someday. That is bullshit. Okay. And you have to have a good bullshit detector because we are subject to a great deal of it. Most of what we get from official sources falls in that category. New Earth and Flat Earth British are two other channels that document and show the artifacts from books, how things were in the remote past, including reset experiences that the current narrative does not take into account whatsoever. Now, I have an interest in chronology because of the difference in the date of the birth of Jesus Christ in the Hebrew Bible, which is 3 BC, versus the Colburn Bible, which is 1072 AD. So we have a problem with chronology. So when you look into the daguerreotypes and etchings and pictures and even the photographs of the era from 1840 to 1860, what shows up is that that was not 20 years. Okay, that was not 20 years. There was some kind of reset in the 1840 genre that pretty much destroyed most of the civil people on the entire world and left whole cities derelict and empty of human life. And we have the photographs from the 1860s showing that St. Petersburg, Russia, and Paris, France, and London, England, and, you know, city after city after city after city after city was empty in 1860. So the fairy tale about how the Civil War happened is not correct. It's not correct at all. The Civil War occurred after an extended period of uncivil governance without keeping track of the time. Okay. There could have been a couple of hundred years between 1840 and 1860. And then another couple of hundred years between 1860 and 1915. Our chronology has not been reliable. And that's because our contact with spirit, with the intelligences that are higher orders of being than we are, our contact has not been reliable. What we find out in the old records is that what used to be is that people, human beings, existed at different scales. There were little tiny ones and middle-sized ones and great big ones. There were giants in the earth, which accounts for a lot of the civic architecture that has been restored and which we are told was all built in the 1890s, which isn't true either. But this is what happens when a civilization loses contact with its source, and its source is by telepathy with the higher orders that preceded us. This is what happens when a civilization becomes cynical, nihilistic, militarized, and alienated from its beginnings. And so the souls who live here, some are quite old, and many of the old souls have shut themselves off from spirit. And they are the ones who have become evil because they have no sense of accountability to the prior higher order by spirit. They want to tell us, those who are still preaching from the pulpit, that spirit is what we get in the group when we're all thinking correctly. In contrast, what Jesus taught is spirit is what we get when society has gone off the rails and we're reintroducing The ancient thought of harmony and peace that used to work. You see, we're not getting the straight deal from our leadership, particularly the leadership who run corporations that plow roughshod over human life. Our problem is corporations, corporate power, and the adventurism that they want to engage in order to control all of us and control our spirits with transhumanism and transsexualism and absolutely free will. It's not going to work. We're going to be taken down again. And indeed, it's past time. Maybe I'm just worn out. I'm just exhausted from seeing how twisted and sorrowful and harmful society has become due to the corporate press for profits. Let me know how you think. This video will only be up at Patreon. We'll see you later. Bye-bye.